How's it going? I'm Anthony Amos and I work for the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Team for RJ Hampshire. Started with the front of the bike, we have pro taper handlebars with the race team Ben. He runs 35 bar mounts, which are more on the lower side. So we're running different start and kill buttons for the race bikes. And we obviously don't run the mapping switch because it's all programmed into our ECUs. And then we run the 3D printed just guards up here just so when they have their chest up there, they don't hit it. Front brake and clutch, we run the factory systems with the standard levers he likes. And he runs them in a pretty neutral position. And then we have to run the carbon guard to protect, from the roost and anything damaging that. Yeah, we just running standard cables with billet throttle housing. Triple clamps, we are running the split and they are factory ones. And then for the fork height, we're pretty neutral right now with everything. We run the WP Exact 52 forks. And then we have the kite whole shot device and he's running his about 165. Right now, we're not very deep. Obviously, if you look at some of the other riders on our team, they're a lot deeper than we are. For the front tire, we're on the MC773F, Han hubs, and Excel A60 rim. One thing we do with the spokes is we just tie wire them just so if they do break, that way they're not just flying around and hitting anything and it'll last, for the whole moto. So with our whole shot device, it is integrated into the forks, so we don't have to really mess with the whole shot ring itself. We just have to make sure our buttons lined up every time. We run the carbon fiber disc guard just to protect the rotor from when they're in ruts. It'll kind of help it move around and not get caught on anything. So we run a tie front axle. So on his radiators, we run standard radiators with a 2.0 cap, and then we run a clip up there just so if it were to get hit, it's not going to spin, come off. And then with our radiator hoses, we'll run a little extra heat protective on it, just kind of keep everything, try and keep it as cool as possible. Then we'll clean it up a little bit just to for the look. So we have a secondary start button on our bike, and we run it here in case if they fall really hard and obviously the bars get damaged and the button moves, gets broken off. We always have a secondary one, so at least the way they can start and hopefully finish the race. So with our fuel tanks, we run our factory one. They're usually internal threads, where now they're our external, and then we run a billet gas cap. We do run a full carbon skid plate on these bikes. And if you look, we have a couple of different carbon pieces just to kind of protect some of the electronics on it, and then we run the kite slave cylinder. So we have a standard shifter, but then we have a different tip on it, just a little bit harder, and it's kind of a different style. Standard frame guards, and then we drill a hole on it, so that way we can just, it's easy for us to check our pivot nut. So we run our 3D printed titanium foot pegs with a tie pin, and we run I guess you could say it's backwards, but when you actually watch the vibration of it, it actually wants to vibrate up and not out. We obviously have tie hardware across the whole bike, and then RJ likes just the solid standard mounts. So our engines are all done in-house here in California, and we have a couple different engine packages that we have, but RJ's pretty set on what we're running right now. So we run gut seat covers, and he likes to have a hump in it, just so kind of keep them locked in on the motorcycle. Same with the grip tape on the side, just keeps them not flying around all the time. That's actually the bump on the seat is made from guts. So RJ is a pretty hard gripper, and he's just super hard on his seats. So we're going with we have our hole in the panels just to get more airflow in there, and then we are running the twin air Supercross filter. We run a standard swing arm pivot. So we got our carbon fiber chain block, and then we run standard chain sliders with our RK chain, and we run press link on them. So where we run our gearing out with our pro taper sprockets, we try to keep our pivot lengths pretty even throughout the day. So and where he likes to run it is kind of a little bit more forward, but mainly in the neutral position. So we run the XLA 60 rim, same with the Han hub, and then he is on the MC784A 110. So our rear brake is all factory, even up to the master. If you look at the standard ones, they have a window in it where ours do not. We don't run a window just because, like, if you know, a rock were to hit it or a rider were to come in and whack it, it's not gonna, you know, it's one less thing for it to break. So we run our FMF Factory 4.1 on these bikes, and then we have an extra guard on there, just that way, you know, when their legs are coming on and off the bike, they're not, you know, damaging it. So we run the WP Exact Pro shock. So with our suspension that we're running, it's really stiff, and then he kind of likes a little bit higher of a sag right now. So with our clutch on our bike, we run the Recluse. So we run a standard brake pedal, but then we just add a billet tip to it. And yes, so and then we run our titanium bolts, and we can you know, move it, and we also have adjustment to go forward or back. Our engines are coated just to, you know, help with heat. So with the steering, he's not too much on the stiff side. He kind of likes it a little bit looser, but if it's too loose, he'll definitely, you know, notice. For his rear axle, we run a titanium one, and then on the nut, we run a, it's a capped one, so that way, you know, dirt's not getting in there, and it just kind of stays a little bit cleaner. So we run ETS fuels, and then with our graphics, Factory FX makes them for us, and they're really good. And then for all the lubricants on the bike, we use a Motorex product.